I want to thank Carrie Powell, the staff, volunteers of CISE, all the teachers and individuals who give their time to what I believe is the most important calling, which is the honor of protecting and developing our future, our young people. And I get the chance to talk about our young people, and it's one of those things that I don't take lightly and I love to do, because I truly believe that an investment in our young people is the most important investment we will ever make. In learning more about CISE, I didn't miss the fact that your theme is opening doors. And so I love metaphors, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about this mission that you all have and how significant it is. I'm going to try to weave in some of this impossible message, because it certainly is my story, which I hope to tell you a little bit about in the limited time I have, and the fact that I truly believe, based on my own story, that there is absolutely nothing that is impossible. It certainly has not been for me. George Washington Carver said that education is the key to unlock the door to freedom. George Washington Carver said that. And so this theme of opening doors really does start and end with education and the ability for individuals to gain the knowledge and the tools that they need to be successful in our world. And these teachers, these volunteers, they ensure that for our young people. We don't want to miss that. But what we know is that they do so much more. They do so much more than that. Because in this day and age, many of our kids are suffocating within walls in which they can find no door. Do you understand what I'm saying? There has to be a door, and you have to be able to see it. And what I see in our communities, there's so many young people who don't have the vision to believe that there is a door for them to walk through. And it is the people who work with our young people every single day who remind them the wisdom of another great person, Ralph Waldo Emerson, who said that every wall is a door. I love that wisdom, because what it says is that we don't have to wait for a door to open, that the very walls around us, given the right treatment, the right perspective, vision, faith, determination, can also be a door. And so for young people who grew up like me, many of them who are served by your schools and by your generosity, they don't see doors. They don't see access. They don't see opportunity. But the people who work with them every single day show them the vision, the faith, the foresight, the determination to be able to look at a wall and see a door. And so I just want to thank and acknowledge all the individuals who allow our kids to dream beyond the circumstances that they live in, and to be able to see doors where other people just see walls. So I just want to make sure I acknowledge that and thank them. And for the young people who are in the audience, I'm going to have a message for you in a second. Don't miss the opportunity to thank them every single day for what they do for you. So the next audience I'd like to talk to is our students. I think it's really important that we encourage our young people not only to be available and open to the idea that a wall might be a door, but we empower them with the action, with exactly what they need to be able to walk through it. So again, to borrow from somebody much smarter than me, there was a Chinese prophet who said that teachers can open the door, but you young people, you have to walk through it. Where are my young people? Will you stand up? Look at these beautiful young people. Aren't they amazing? And I didn't miss the fact that there was amazing statistics that were read earlier about the outcomes that you all are seeing that are so far greater than what we're seeing, not only in Cincinnati, but across the country. It's amazing what you all are able to do with these young people. And one of the things I love to do about putting young people on the spot is I call it gentle pressure. I think it's a good pressure to allow young people to stand and be seen, to own their truth and own their role in the world. And I like the quote that teachers can open the door, but you young people have to walk through it. Let me tell you a little bit about how I walk through a door. When I grew up in Lincoln Heights, first in my family to go to college. My mother, mentally ill. My father, drug addicted, 20 years sober this year, thank God. And so I know a little bit about what it means to feel like there are no doors, to be suffocating in walls and not to be able to see a door. The power of education from a very young age for me really set me on a course that just could not be interrupted. But I had to take the step. I had to be the one to walk through it. And you were the only ones who could do that. And I want to make sure that I remind you of that obligation, because there's a lot of individuals who care so much about you, and they're willing to do anything to make sure that you're successful. They made the initial investment. We invest in something expecting a return, and so you are the one to ensure that return. And so I want to make sure, young people, that I give you that gentle pressure, that once someone has opened the door, that you take that by the reins. I decided at the age of 8 years old, having never seen anyone in my family before me go to college, that I wanted to be a lawyer, and I declared that to the world. Someone said earlier, the reference to Matthew Kelly, that if you declare it, then it will be. And I truly believe that we are what we celebrate, we are the things that we say that we can be. And so I want you young people to make sure you do that you declare to the universe, the world, to God, and heaven, and anyone else who will listen, exactly what it is that you intend to contribute to this world. And then you step through that door. And I want to make sure that every person who is around here, I love that Verizon wireless reference, you've got people. That there are people here who are going to make sure that you get through it, but you have to take the first step. And so I want to empower you to do that. There's a third group of people that I want to acknowledge as probably one of the bigger groups, and probably the last group that wants to stand up. All the board members, donors, and friends who make all the work possible. Of our teachers, our volunteers who are on the ground, and our students. Stand up. Don't be shy. They often are the last people to stand up, which is why I like to expose them in this way. They love standing in the shadows, and I love to bring them out into the light. So we want to make sure that we acknowledge you. So to you I say, Milton Berle, in the words of Milton Berle, if opportunity does not knock, build a door. Build a door. What you all do every single day through your contributions, through the awareness building that you're doing, through you celebrating the work, is that you're building a door. You're building a door through your generosity. And so I want to encourage you and give you some data that I think is really important. And I like to end here and then kind of go here and then we'll come back around, because it kind of brings you down and then I'll bring you back up. But I want you to know the startling statistics so that it continues to encourage you to continue to build doors. To build doors. So we heard about the statistics that you all have, and I want to let you know that I am not only esteemed and excited about them, but I want to tell you that they are working. If we could have that kind of outcome everywhere across the city, there would be nothing that would be impossible for us. So I want to talk to you about what we're facing, and hopefully that'll encourage you to build more doors. And loosely translated, to give a little bit more money, and a little bit more time, and a little bit more energy. So we got more doors to build. So in the city of Cincinnati, where your 8 schools are located and your 1,800 students are located, and let's not forget about the 200 or so students that you have that go on to high school, and your 70+% go on to Catholic schools, and they go and do amazing things in the world. In the city of Cincinnati, within your footprint, over 50% of our families with children under the age of 18 are in single-parent households. Over 50%. 45% of those are single mothers and 7% are single fathers. I certainly met that statistic. My grandmother raising me. We are, as a city, the second in the nation in childhood poverty in the United States. More than 1 in every 2 of our children in the city of Cincinnati lives below the poverty line. 53%. 53%. And for those who don't know what that looks like in this day and age, for a family of 4 with 2 children under 18, that's an annual income of around $22,000. 90% of the students that are served by CISE probably meet that standard, which is really great. You guys are really serving where we need you all to serve, and we want to thank you and acknowledge that. But what does that mean for our kids? I don't ever want us to forget. So adolescents living in poverty are almost twice as likely to be obese than students who are not. Teenage girls living in poverty are 5 times more likely to have an unintended pregnancy. You know what that outcome can look like. Children living in poverty are 1.3 times more likely to have developmental delays or learning disabilities. We talked about the importance of reading at grade level. reading above grade level and advancing in school. Children living in poverty are 2 times as likely to repeat a grade. 2 times as likely to repeat a grade. And remember that in the city of Cincinnati, more than 1 in every 2 of our children has that. So what does that mean as I wrap up and then bring us back up from the deep depression, I'm sorry, that I'm putting you in right now. 2/3 of children who don't read at grade level, we talked about the importance of grade level, by the end of 4th grade will either end up in jail or on welfare. I'm going to say that one more time. 2/3 of children who don't read at grade level by the end of 4th grade will either end up in jail or on welfare. It affects their likelihood of graduating from high school. We know poverty does. Cincinnati has a lower percentage of high school graduates than both Ohio and the United States. Non-high school graduates in Cincinnati are more than 2 times as likely to live below the poverty line as high school graduates. So as you can see, anybody who's been watching this is a cycle that will continue because we see how the outcomes translate around, and then they create what we know is limited mobility and generations and generations of poverty. And so as I encourage you, as I conclude, I'd like to talk about one door I have not talked about, the one that I'd very much like for us to combat, and that's the revolving door. This revolving door that our kids get trapped in because they start in the world at a place that they have no control over, and because we haven't yet figured out a way to get them out. And so I want to make sure that I implore us and encourage us to never forget about the revolving door, and that we continue to do the great work that this organization is doing. And I want to applaud you for that, and I want to make sure, this is an applause line now, that we recognize and reward the fact that you all are, by every standard, doing gangbusters with the kids who are working, who are in your schools and who you're working with every day. Amazing outcomes. That is incredible. Gangbusters. And so this is my little selfish way of saying 1,800 this year, 2,000 next year, 2,200 the following year, because we need more and more children to be able to have access to the quality of education, the quality of care, the quality of purpose, the quality of nurturing, the quality of encouragement that you guys are providing. We know it works. The outcomes are amazing. What we need to do is just build more doors. And so in closing, I want to remind us of all of our assignments. We all have an assignment. I know teachers love this, students cringe at it, and those of us who have ever been to school cringe at it. We all have an assignment. To CISE staff, teachers, volunteers, we need you to help our kids to dream and see doors where currently there is a wall. Students, once that door has been created and or opened, we need for you to enter, and we need you to go through. And we need you to continue to excel. And then we need you to come back and open up a door for someone else. Because we know that the greatest gift we can give once we've gone through a door is to open the door for someone else. It's our responsibility. It really is. And then finally, to our board members, our donors, our friends, we need you to build doors. Build more doors. Create more capacity so that more students can benefit from the great work this organization has done. And I want to make sure on behalf of the City of Cincinnati that I thank you for the work that you are doing to create amazing future citizens for our city. Thank you very much.